Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video. And I thought I'd rip the white today as it's snowing everywhere, it's cold, it's miserable, and we're not even talking about a game of football yet. Nah, we're just talking about outside. Now let's get a little bit deeper and talk about the inside then, shall we? There's another game upon the horizon in what was a very exciting international break filled with possibilities and excitement of where this team could go. The last two bumps in the road has definitely made everyone remember it's still the same issues with the squad. The name master, not even Pep Guardiola, could get a tune out of some of these, but the tune needs to come at least until January, and that's the true challenge of not only these players, but Phil. What can he mix and match? What players can he trust? What players can he put where to get the results that we as a football club need to get over to January? And then we can start moving things on. We've got a new director of football to break down and what that means, what type of manager or director of football I should say actually is he? Where are we going as a team? What I think this means, and of course the opponent that is now upon the horizon looking to pile more misery in to what has been a miserable week. So grab your tea, grab your hot chocolate, grab whatever, strap yourselves in and let's go ahead and talk about the next Rangers game. And as always, if you do find yourselves enjoying the channel or enjoying this video, please consider hitting that like. It shows me you not only are you enjoying the content, which is always nice for me to see now and then, it also keeps a ridiculous streak of now 7 weeks in a row of hitting 1,000 likes a video. It's mental, troops, shouldn't be happening for a channel my size, but your support has been greatly appreciated. But what would be appreciated is if we just get on with the actual video, and we know what that means then, shall we? A game upon the horizon. Let's check the dance partner with the old oppositional preview and have a look at my current time of recording. The team sitting third in the old SPFL, which is much nicer for me to hear because the very last time we sat here and spoke about St Mirren for a preview video, they were above us in the league as we were knee deep in Beal Ball mania, but thankfully that's been rectified and St Mirren are where they should be, below us in the league. It'd be nice if everyone was, but I'll leave it for a couple minutes. Let's look at St Mirren then, shall we? Because previously, again, they were high-flying in the league. They were second at the time we last seen them. They were undefeated in the league. One of, I think, only 8 teams at that point that was still undefeated in their domestic league, getting a lot of praise. And then they got scanted 3-0 versus us. We went into an international break. How would they respond? How would they play? How would they cope with that first dent in what was a fantastic start to the season that some pundits and some people that's supposed to talk up our game was calling a fluke start? Now, it's certainly not for me to sit here and just back up and defend other teams in this country. I like having my fun, I like poking fun, but I just try and entertain people that way. But to summarise a team that has a budget of a Freddo in a can of cola and call it a fluke because we were undefeated for so long, battling way above expectations, is really disingenuous and poor bits of punditry. And the people that were saying it just showing they have nothing or never even looked at the likes of St Mirren, because they have been playing really well as a football club. And I wouldn't say I was happy to see them defy the expectations of them then caving after their fluke start, but it's nice to see a team go about their business and play football the right way, or try to play football the right way despite what bumps come their way. As yes, they lost their undefeated start to us. How did they respond to that? Well, they responded with a fantastic and resounding 4-0 as they went ahead and fixed that goal difference that was dented by us on that fateful night. And then they went to Parkhead, which is also a very famously difficult place to go, and they took the lead versus Celtic, maybe against a grainy possession, but they took the lead in the game. They were battling. Turnbull scores a goal to bring it back to 1-1. Turnbull misses a penalty. Celtic get another penalty that they miss in that game. You know, it's funny because penalty to Rangers is such an iconic catchphrase and an iconic thing, and it's so cheating that we get penalties, but that's because Tavernier actually scores them. And the reason it's not a meme elsewhere is because Celtic end up missing them. It's quite funny how that actually works around. Celtics have more penalties than us, but because they miss them, it doesn't seem to matter to anybody. But anyway, they missed the penalty in that game, and St Mirren were still in it until the 83rd minute of that game, where home ended up scoring a goal and putting them away. But they were in the game, they were battling, and they were right amongst it and had a couple chances on their own. So you look at that and you wouldn't say anything or take anything away from them for battling and going down on their sword at Parkhead versus Celtic. But then it started to get just a little bit choppy as their performances started to dip a little bit. Now, they did get a 2-2 draw with Hibs, but the way Hibs were playing at that time was really poor. The fact that St Mirren was at home and relied on a 92nd minute to equalise maybe was good in the previous seasons, but the way that they played, for me, I didn't think they were as good or as dominant as they had been for the majority of the season, and for me that was the start of the slope. Because what followed was simply one of the most confusing games of football I've ever witnessed. As you had the high-flying, performing St Mirren side gone to Dundee, who I've gave a lot of credit to right here on the channel, but without being disrespectful, both Sam Lammers and Dessers scored against them. You know what I mean? In the same game. That's all I'll say about it. But Dundee turned St Mirren over with the scoreline of 4-0. Absolutely destroyed them in every single category. No one saw that coming. It was well and truly a Koppen buster, if you will, and that just seemed to knock their confidence, because they've just never been the same side since, getting scudded versus Dundee. What then followed was a really ugly game versus Livingston, which they did manage to go ahead and win 1-0, by the way, and that's normally a credit to win at the Tony Macaroni. That can be a difficult place to play, but Livingston's not the side that they were in previous years. It's just not as difficult to go there right now, and their poor performance in that game, despite the win, led them into their most recent game of football before playing us, which was absolutely no surprise to me. We've got a wee fantasy football chat, and I says I'd stay away from the St Mirren players. I've just got a bad feeling about it, and I was laughed at people, but what ended up happening, Ross County 1, St Mirren 0. The clean sheets that some of the boys in the fantasy chat doubled up with in St Mirren was dead and buried, because it was no surprise that the St Mirren performances were dipping, and they've been dipping truly since they got scudded off Dundee. And that's why I sit here in front of you not really sure what type of St Mirren side we're actually going to see. The only thing that I can be confident in is despite their inconsistencies going forward, they've actually been really solid at the back. They're almost the exact flip of us, but we're also inconsistent going forward as well, so I'll leave that comparison on the side of the table. They will dig in, they will make it a bit more difficult. I think they'll go for a lot more of the cautious approach. I felt like they went for it a little bit more than they normally do in the 3-0 loss, and that's when they were flying high of confidence. Now they're not playing well. People saying, oh, it could be a really tough game. Yes, on paper it absolutely can be, but they are not performing right now, and again the opening stages is going to be massive, but I've said that in the last two games, and we've both came out and both games looked like we couldn't be bothered playing, so I'm not sure what we'll bring to the table, but what I think St Mirren will bring in is a bit more defensive than the last time we saw them, and again look to hit us on that counter. That gap between the two centre halves will be attacked every single time, long ball after long ball. You can't begrudge them it, but again you could argue it's a very good time to play St Mirren, despite us being Rangers, and it should be a good time anytime we play them, but the way they're playing right now, it's not that great, so there could be a scoreline of 3-0 again on the cards. But again, the worrying thing about being a Rangers fan right now is we cannot look at a game. This is the likes of St Mirren that's limping from result to result from game to game and be utterly confident in a demolition job, which it should be on paper, because the only thing we've been consistent at is being inconsistent. Good, bad, good, bad. It's consistently a thing about this Rangers team, and it's the roller coaster that we are actually on, and it's not a season thing. It's not because of the last 6 months, it's a yearly thing, because a large majority of these players, large majority of these mentalities has cost two managers their jobs, has gave us some heartache and gave us a hell of a lot of grey hairs. But now there may be some clearance starting to happen now with an appointment made by the football club, as we have finally, after a very, very long time, troops, announced a director of football. Now, it was announced late last night, but I really wanted to read into it. I wanted to cram a lot of reading in. I didn't want to just rush a video, no knowing anything, just trying to get some views. Come look at me. I wanted to really try and read about this laddie, see what he's done, see who he's brought in, what type of director of football is there, because there is different levels and different types of relationships. You sometimes get a director of football who's fully focused on youth football. They really bring in there, they can bring in 15, 16 year olds into this and give them air and build them in. Man City tries to go down that route, believe it or not. There's people in there that likes to look and identify youth talent and try to bring it forward. And then you get the other directors of football who's maybe more of the recruitment side. So you might be thinking to yourself, what director of football have we brought in to the football club? But well, despite him never being a director of football before, Do you know what I mean? We waited that long. We've announced something that's never done the job before. This must be Rangers Football Club, and that might be a worry to every person. The only thing I would counteract that by saying is, if you look at this guy's pedigree and this guy's CV and the work that he's done at football clubs, not only his past relationship with Phil Clement, which is always important. If the director of football and manager's on the same hymn sheet, you're usually in for a winner. They have got a past relationship. They do know each other previously. But if you look at this guy and what type of guy he is, it tells us exactly what we want to hear as a fan of this football club. If you start scratching away, it's quite clear now. We've no got someone who's focused on the commercial side of the game, who's focused on the youth side of the game. This guy that we've got in, Big Cop, as I'm going to start calling him right here on the channel, if you look at his entire career and what he's been known for is identifying talent, bringing in players in the recruitment side of the game. We know Clement, we talked about it in the manager profile, that's no his forte. He likes to work with what's in the building. He'll discuss and he'll say aye or no to players, but he's no out there searching this and this and this. He wants somebody that he can trust. And if you look at the work especially this guy's done at PSV, the gems that he's unearthed and been able to identify and bring in for pennies and flip for a hell of a lot, 8 pennies is a tremendous thing, and it's something you can start to get excited about because we now have someone with an eye at talent. It's no the worry that we had previously under who even under Mark Allen, who was maybe more of a youth style director of football. We heard all of that, but the last guy, you know what I mean, a lot of people said, but look at the amount of duds that he bought, duds, and we kind of ignored it and looked away from it for the one or two gems. Well, if you're looking at Big Cop's record of bringing in talent, it's nearly hit for hit. It's like an 80s playlist on Spotify, troops. And I think after a summer that has certainly brought mixed results, obviously there is some good players or some young players who's not been given an opportunity in, but there's some players I think's already badly failed their chance in a Rangers shirt. Having someone with that pedigree, with that experience, who's been hands-on in the types of recruitment and identifying talent, giving him the big job where it's now on him to just go ahead and do that, could be a successful move for his football club. I certainly hope it's a success, and we should stop seeing as many big risks and big gambles, as that's not really what he's used to or what this man brings to the table. So I wish the big laddie luck. He's certainly got a lot on his plate, and hopefully he can take the opportunity that has now been given to him, and hopefully he can continue to build on his impressive resume and impressive word of mouth, where there's been previous ones like the Mark Allens, and I'm not even going into it with the Ross Wilsons. There was worry, there was questions, there was doubts and ifs and claims about this and bad duds after bad duds. This laddie seems to have positive things to be said about him and how influential he's actually been in identifying, bringing in this, you know what I mean? So he's got the praise, he's got the plaudits, now he's got the big job. Hopefully that translates over, troops. And that kind of leads me to the player conversation that we're going to need to have, right? Because not only is players going to need to start performing now, as someone is here who will be looking, and only job is moving these guys in and bringing others in. So they need to lift their game. All I would say to us as a fan base, let's be wary of false dawns. You know what I mean? History suggests we can't trust a lot of these players. So if they do uplift over the next month, which I hope they do, because we need them to actually turn on, I still want a large majority of them to leave to January. Have your best month ever in a Rangers career, troops. I really, really hope that. But then move some of them on in January. That would be the perfect scenario for me. But we know the big elephant in the room. We know what we need to talk about. We need to talk about Todd Cantwell. It's all anyone has been speaking about. And tomorrow's starting 11 will be absolutely huge and answer so many questions that so many people actually has. Has he fell out with Clement? Has Clement fell out with him? Does Clement want Cantwell? Is Cantwell got a future? Is it going the same way as Norwich? We will find out with the starting 11 versus St Mirren. And where I can see both sides of the arguments, I see people saying, well, if he's not doing the manager's job, get him off. But the only thing I would say is, his natural game, his natural instinct when he gets the ball is to drift inside and create. That's all he's done in his entire career. To try and rattle that out and with one game get that out is someone's game. For what? For someone who's dreadful playing in his actual position instead is a bit unfair in my opinion. Now I know what Clement's been like. I know from his time at Monaco, when he makes a decision, it's usually the decision done. But I would like to see Cantwell be given an opportunity to play centrally, and for me it would actually show really mature management if we just go for it. Give the young laddie who's getting embarrassed and mocked for everybody an opportunity to play where he actually plays, which is the centre of the park, where Clement himself has said he knows that's Todd's best position. Give the laddie an opportunity to fight for the club that he says he wants to play for. Go ahead and do it. Give it to someone who's hungry and who's fighting and who wants to impress. Dinna throw him out to the right or swap him out for somebody else and play someone who's dreadful in his actual position. Let's no spite ourselves any longer, because honestly, that's what it feels like with the whole Lammers discussion. If players and managers know that Todd Cantwell and Tom Lawrence is more effective in the central areas than a Sam Lammers, then can we stop playing Sam Lammers there? Do you know what I mean? I'm losing my mind. We're not good enough to be able to carry a jersey and hope he turns round. He's not in a 6 months bad spell, a year bad spell. He's not in a 2-year bad spell. This guy has been this guy for 4 consecutive seasons where he scored 2 goals a season for the last 3.5 years. This is who he is. We aren't good enough to carry that and hope it turns around. He's certainly got talent. I'll be forever hopeful when he does play that he actually performs. I'll continue to convince myself of that. But we are not good enough right now to nurse someone. We need creativity. We're a limp attack. So maybe play the creative players that can actually impact games. And again, that would be Tom Lawrence if everyone's fit, in my opinion, as he's already shown it. But I just feel, I don't know, maybe I've just been naive and stupid with the embarrassment that Cantwell must have felt for that game. Whether he disappointed you or maybe never done exactly what the manager want, give the laddie an opportunity to go ahead and be who he was last season, which was arguably top 3 players in the SPFL for the minute he joined to the end of last season. I just didn't want us to hurt ourselves and have tunnel vision and go down this route, trying to get a tune out of somebody when someone's sitting here playing and begging to be given an opportunity in that position. And all I'll end it with say is, if we can give Sam Lammers 27 games in that area, scoring 2 goals during it, can we at least give Todd Cantwell 1 game this season in that role? That's all. I'll leave it at that, ladies and gentlemen, and that will tell us a lot about what the futures are for certain players going in to tomorrow's game. And that's it. I'm going to wrap up today's video. I can't wait to see your thoughts and opinions on Cantwell. Should he play? Should he not play? Should you never see him again? Let me know down there in the comment section below. And as always, I will leave with a prediction, which hasn't been going well lately. It really hasn't, but it's just the type of game that we win usually, you know what I mean? After the 2 must-win games in a big week, we'll then go against the likes of St Mirren, who are actually higher in the league than Aberdeen, but it's not got that same type of bite and atmosphere like Aberdeen players usually bring in. We didn't seem to win those games. We seem to win these types of games that we're playing tomorrow, where we should be utterly dominant in every statistic. Now, what would be? Who knows? But I'll back my team. I'll believe, and I'll go with Rangers 2, St Mirren 0. And I hope Cantwell starts a really day. What about you? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down there in the comment section below. And as always, I've been CJ92. Thank you so much for watching. All the best, and bye-bye.